Do you have any faith, Bill?
Do I have any faith?
Correct.
Faith in what?
Well, and what we were just talking about, government.
Government?
I mean, you're a guy that's been...
I've maintained for a long time that the government system of the two-party system has to go away. It's
What
the
should it
two-party
be?
system
Should it
that
be-
creates all the gridlock. If we don't have anybody voting party line in the general elections, and if we don't have those elected officials voting party line when they get in office, people will start voting properly, and then we'll get things done. It won't be gridlock.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I agree with that.
Well, how can a member of Congress, and this is a proven stat, that the members of Congress vote party line 86% of the time?
The problem is you have a three-party system going on right now in America. It's a three-party system. You have the Democrats, you have the Republicans, and then you have the conservative portion of the Republican Party. Therein lies that's three, and nothing can get done. It really is three, right? I mean, it is.
And you also have two independents, too.
There are two independents out there who already picked sides to caucus, right? So, Bill, you had you for years now. How long ago was Skate-A-Rama open?
It was last open November 30th, 2011.
In history, in terms of
in history. The building originally was built in the 1940s. It was expanded in 1954 to its current size and
But
shape.
it was a skating rink in the 1940s.
Yes.
Was it your family?
Always been a roller skating arena.
And
My father started working for the original owner when it was built.
Got it.
And then my parents bought the place from the original owner in 1968. And my wife and I bought the building and business from my parents in 1988.
Just in time for the skating craze to peak, and then.
Well, the peak of all time was the disco craze from like '79 to '84.
And you do things over there as well. You did.
Yes.
You guys explain to these guys, trying to explain about roller hockey and how you have been on Olympic teams. Your kids, your family, your son, is he still playing? Still
playing. He's not in Europe. The economy over there is as bad as it is here. It's worse over there. No, I've been on Team USA myself twice, but we have had in our program teams that have won 11 national titles, 43 medals overall at national championships. We've put players on Team USA 61 times. We've had 42 MVP award winners at nationals and 18 best goalie award winners at nationals. So we're one of the elite programs in the United States.
Yeah. So, okay, now your Skate-A-Rama had been closed since what year?
Since November 30th, 2011, so it's about 3.5 years.
You've been fighting for help, trying to get assistance, get a resurgence.
We have talked to every level of political arena, and they talk the talk because they say we always got to do this for the kids, do that for the kids. The reality is, kids don't vote. It doesn't get put on the front burner.
Yeah.
What do you need help with? What do you need help with?
Well, we've needed help for a long time. This really stems back to 2002. We brought the Roller Hockey National Championships to the Utica Memorial Auditorium. We had 51 teams, 1,500 people here for 9 days. According to the United County Convention and Visitors Bureau and the Small Business Development Court, that represented almost $2 million brought to the local economy for restaurants, hotels, gas stations, sightseeing, and so on.
And Bill lost his behind.
We did. We brought this with the idea that this would be supported because things in this area seem to be supported in general, when it's a major event. And that was not true. We didn't get the support of the local government. We didn't get the support of the local media. We didn't get the support of local sponsorship corporations. And never intended to be bringing it back again. However, we were convinced to do so in 2008 because we were told by the Convention and Visitors Bureau that the I Love New York campaign will help with things that are tourist related. So we did. And the teams from all over the United States have been after us for several years because they thought it was the best national championships they'd ever been to. And so we brought it back. The I Love New York campaign promised that they would do things up to the tune of $50,000. We said, that's fine. We can make it work for less than that. They said, but we don't give you the money until 2 weeks after the event because if the event doesn't happen, now we got to chase the money back. That's fine. 2 weeks is no big deal. 2 weeks turned into 5 months to the exact day. And then instead of up to $50,000, we had managed to shave the expenses down to $36,748.
How much did you lose in the end?
Governor Patterson at the time told all departments to make drastic cuts.
Yeah,
and instead of honoring contracts, They cut us to 25, which
And how
was
much did-
another 12,000
how much-
plus.
How
Well,
much did, went down to 25,000. How much did you
So-
lose totally?
over $30,000
Yeah,
into
personally.
national championships
Yeah.
that brought money to the local economy, brought sales tax revenue to the tune of over $400,000 in the two events.
So in the end of the day, you were struggling financially. You could not make the repairs that need to be made. There were problems with the floor, problems with the roof.
The floor, actually, because of the national championships, we had to build a floor to put in the odd because it's a smaller surface for lower hockey than
Yeah.
ice hockey. And that floor was then transported back to the skating rink and laid on top of the original floor.
Okay, so
So
you
we
had
had
a nice-
we had a new floor.
Brand new floor. Okay, but at the end of the day, you had to move out of there. So the building has been vacant or closed anyway.
Yes.
And now the other day, because of the snow and probably leakage,
Right.
the
Lack of maintenance.
and-
We
yeah.
just haven't had the funds because there's no income coming into the
now
building.
it's collapsed.
Yes.
And it's pretty much
Half of what's over the skating area.
all right, Kristine.
And for the record, you have no insurance at all on
No.
the property.
No.
How can you
When the
operate-
economy started going bad, it affected our business as well as many other businesses. And if you're a smart business person and you want to stay in business, you think of ways to make cuts, which the government never has
Versus insure it
understood.
and then torture it. I mean, that to me. is-
No, that wasn't our strategy. The strategy was this would be temporary, but who knew that the economy would be lingering this long? Since 2001, this economy has not
Yeah.
turned itself around.
But what do you say though, Bill? I mean, some of the political figures, because I've gone on your behalf and talked.
Yes,
to
you have, and you are one
and-
of only two people in the media that have supported us
I
fully.
supported you, and when you had the event at the
Absolutely.
Odd, I mean, I was there. When you say the media didn't.
Well,
we were
that was
really
2008. I didn't know you in 2002.
there. Oh, that was-
Sorry,
that
I want to
happened
clarify
back
that. Yes,
then. Okay.
Who was the other? Just curious.
Hank Brown.
Hank Brown did, yeah. I would ask you, in their opinion, this is just a losing. The business doesn't have the popularity that it used to have.
Absolutely
And
true,
it's
or
it's
false.
But I know, but in
That's their opinion.
It's a losing effort, and you're holding on to something that's never going to come to fruition.
That's what they think. That's what they
I know
say.
that's what they say.
Here we are 3.5 years later, and before this roof collapse, obviously this has stirred some
Yeah.
interest again. But before this collapse, every week we get phone calls still at our house because we always had our phone number for the business at home as well. We still get phone calls from kids and from parents.
Yeah.
Are you open yet? When are you reopening?
When you
And some people who didn't even realize that we're closed, even though it's been 3.5 years, they're not frequent customers,
Yeah.
and they're calling asking to schedule a birthday party. What are your hours tonight?
Right, 'cause
I mean,
people
there
don't
is
know.
still lots of interest. There are lots of
I
kids.
was off the air for 2 years, and somebody came up to me in a grocery store and said, "Listen, love the show. I was listening just the other morning. Really good." And I didn't have the heart to say, "Listen, I've been off the air for 2 years, but thank you." Because sometimes people, they
They get caught up in their daily
Yeah,
lives and
exactly.
forget
Yeah.
things.
Sit tight. You're upset with the way this has been handled, upset with the village of Whitesboro, and
The
still
village of Yorkville.
and still have a feeling that there might be an opportunity here, and you have a plan.
Oh, it's more than might.
Okay, so sit tight. And I want you to vent that. And
Two quick questions. If you're running a business, you got people and their families. I don't understand how you can even legally operate without insurance. I don't understand that.
Oh, there's lots of businesses that do it all the time. In fact, there was a time period where the city of Utica did not have insurance, and that's why the Central New York fireworks over Utica started up, because the 4th of July fireworks were not going to happen that year because the city did not have insurance.
it is
Right.
uh,
it wasn't going to happen. 'Cause
Right.
I don't understand how you
come
can
back.
operate that
Well,
way.
that is.
and he's right. Businesses do it. It's certainly not advised.
It's not advised,
But
and it's not a good
businesses-
situation when
yeah.
something like this does come up. But, like I said, we never intended it would be lasting this long. We thought we would get back to being insured, but the finances, some places had to find cuts.
And just one more quick thing. So, but why? I'm sensing that you think the government should help you out, but you're a for-profit business.
And government help for-profit businesses all the time. People say that. There's lots of businesses that get help to the tunes of millions of dollars. There's businesses that are getting help right now through this economic thing that the government Colwell started 4 years ago. And, you don't have to be a non-for-profit to be part of that. There's local businesses that have received millions of dollars through that economic
And
package.
you wanted help because you felt that this was going to be a quality of life issue.
Exactly. It's something that benefits the kids. They're off the streets, they're out of trouble, they're
Why-
having fun, they're
okay.
exercising.
I want to get into two things. First of all, what is your plan? You have a plan.
The plan is, since the building has been closed and we've realized that the village was never going to allow us to reopen because of the issues that we had when we were in court with them, And so we started working on making our hockey program a 501c3, not-for-profit organization.
Okay, all right.
And that is, the hockey program generates all of its players from the skating business. We take kids in that are sometimes beginners, can't even stand up
Yeah,
on skates. And so the not-for-profit just got granted to us from the IRS within the last few months. So we're in a very early beginning stage of fundraising that will allow us to be building a brand-new building. And this will be brand new, built from ground up for our specifications, and it's going to be obviously used for roller skating and for roller hockey, but we're going to be using it multi-recreationally.
And so so you can play soccer in there.
You're right, it's actually will be more than one building. It will
How
be
big is
built
the
in
building,
phases.
the building where Kiddabaloo is going to be, this place? I forget the
Accelerate
name.
Sports Complex.
It's
Accelerate Sports
80-some
Complex.
thousand square feet.
And
Very large.
That's
Yes.
large. I mean, could
Yes.
you guys work out something with that?
Ours is going to be a several building complex that will be built in phases, and
Okay.
it will be ultimately over 350,000 square feet.
But so where do you play roller hockey now? I mean,
Now we
yeah.
wait for warm weather, and we
You
go
play
to a parking lot. We go to an outdoor
That's got to be difficult.
concrete.
Doesn't it? But wouldn't that place, this new place, be something at least worth talking to them about?
I don't know. I haven't been in there. I don't know what they
It's
have
really
inside. I
beautiful,
don't
I
know
gotta
what the
tell you.
surface is. If they would even
Something.
allow skating on it. There's some people that just have.
I would not. I would want to know. I would call if I were you.
Yeah.
Okay, why were you shut down? Originally, you say you were shut down.
We were
and
shut
you're
down
Upset over why you
if-
were shut down.
If you go by the public statement of the Village of Yorkville, it was codes violations. I want you to know that the Village of Yorkville, I had owned that place for 24 years. I bought it from my parents who had it for 20 years before that, and my father worked for the original owner for 19 years prior to that. Never, ever has the Village of Yorkville done annual codes inspections. It's always been done by New York State Department of Safety and Labor. And they told us that if the Village of Yorkville has a codes enforcer, which they do, that they're supposed to be in there doing annual inspections also by law. If they miss a year, that's fine, but you can't miss more than 3 years. They never did annual inspections.
Okay.
And so when we got this list of supposed 12, 13 violations, we took that to the state. And the inspector that had been our inspector had been the same guy for about 10 years. The department head had been someone who brought his children skating there. Now, would you keep doing that if you are in a position of authority to make sure that if there are things that are wrong,
So if
safety
they're
or
bringing-
health
so they're
detrimental?
if they're bringing their kids,
Yeah.
why do they shut you down?
Well, the state is who brought the kids, not the
Okay,
village,
I got it.
okay? The village shut us down because the reality is that they didn't like it that we were doing college dances in there late at night after the skating times. Now,
What year is this?
this was, well, we got closed at the end of 2011, and this was over a 6-year period that we were doing the college dances up to that point. We had about 60-some dances during
Was it
that
raising
time.
money? That was raising money.
Well, sure. I mean, they were paying a rent fee for using the building for that evening, and that helped to keep the bills going in the economy that we were facing.
Yeah.
And so we had about 60-some dances. We were averaging about 300-400 college students each dance, and 95% were black college students. And therein was the trouble that the village had, that there was this large group of black college students congregating within the village borders. And yes, we had to call.
That's a pretty big charge.
Well, I can back it up because we did have to call the police on probably 4 or 5 occasions out of 60-some dances, which I don't find that to be a terrible track record. Although 0 would be
Was there
better.
alcohol in the premises?
There was never allowed. We had a security firm that we hired out of Syracuse, so they didn't know the students, and the students didn't know them. No alcohol, no weapons, no drugs, not even cigarettes. If they patted them down, if they found anything, they took it. They didn't say take it back to your car. They took it, threw it in the garbage right there. One night when we did have to call the police, the Yorkville officer came up to me and said, "What do you got going on here?" Very huffed, very upset. I said, "It's a college dance. Why? What's the problem? I called you here to take care of this problem." He turns around and shoves me and says, "We're going to shut this," I can't say the next word, "down." And the other police officer was standing right there.
A swear word?
Absolutely. The other officer was right there. There were several college students all around. My son was right there. My son says to the other officer, "You just saw that and you're not going to do anything about it?" And within 3 weeks, we were shut down.
And you never had a codes inspection.
Not by the Village of Yorkville, by the state of New York. And that was always
the village.
it was the village that shut us down. Here's the thing that the state told us. these charges are illegal to be shutting you down. We have talked to, I didn't even know they were doing this. They talked to other state departments around the state and said that these codes issues are not legitimate issues to be
Yeah.
closing a business down.
Did you
And
want-
he should be suing the village of Yorkville, and we will testify on his behalf.
Why didn't you sue? Did you sue?
We talked to lawyers, and all the lawyers we talked to said that you have a very winnable case, but they wouldn't do it without a retainer fee that was too large for me to be able to handle.
The retainer fee.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, I mean, the issues, let me go through just one particular example. They had several issues, like I said, it was about 12 or 13 on the list. One of the issues that they had was that the building had no numbers on the outside. The building has never had numbers on the outside of the building since it's been built in the 1940s. Suddenly that's an issue to the village? Well, the state codes guy, when he was going down the list, when he got to that one, he says, the codes doesn't say you have to have numbers on your building. The codes say your building must be identifiable. Now he's further explaining. Obviously, if it's a house, you need a number on it, so the police and fire need to know where to go.
Do you think,
But
though, that, I mean, what leads you to believe, that, so you say they're predominantly black.
yes,
I know that...
vast majority.
Well, but I know that whenever police have a situation in a community where there are parties thrown, we see this all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Parties are thrown for college students. College students in general, not black, white, Hispanic, whatever. It doesn't matter their race. You get a group of 350 college students together and they're having a party. It's always a problem for authorities. It always seems to be something they wish wasn't going on.
If it's a party,
What
and
makes
if there's
you say-
alcohol involved,
but
if
why
there's
are you
drugs
saying-
involved, this
what-
was just a dance.
But what proof? Yeah, but the kids will come drunk. They come, there's ecstasy and all this other. That's what.
If they
that's
came-
what drives this
If,
stuff, right?
if they came under any obvious influence, we made them leave. They didn't get in the door.
But and nonetheless, so they're worried about trouble.
Mm-hmm.
But you specifically say it's because of a racial issue. Do you have any evidence of that? Did anyone say to you that there's too many black people congregated here?
Well, some of the promoters were promoters that were doing dances in the city of Utica at places and were being closed down for the same reason and were drawing the same crowd. And the only explanation that anybody could come to was that it was because it was a majority black. There are events that happen that are college-age students, young adults, that are majority white that nobody seems to be doing anything to. They're still going on today, that are still happening at public venues,
Right.
that nobody seems to be shutting down those venues.
So you're looking for funding for the new place.
Yes.
Do you fear that making these charges today will hurt you in going forward for maybe future?
I think
endeavors?
that it's time that the public realizes that we were doing everything we could to be able to maintain a place for the children to go to that
Yeah.
was not only safe but also fun and exercising for them, and that by getting into a new facility that we will be doing exactly that.
All right. We'll leave it at this, but anybody else have any other questions? You made a lot of charges, and I'm not sure they're going to help your way down the road, but
Pretty sure they won't.
you feel that this is something that needs to be
Yes,
out there.
right.
All right. All right, William. Well, I'm sorry to hear about your roof caving in. That's very sad.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, will what's going to happen next? I'm assuming
We
will
talked
they
to
be
them.
asking for demolition.
We talked to the mayor of
You just, by
Yorkville
the
that
way,
night.
You stoked up the fire a little bit.
What I just said to you and to the public who was listening, the exact same conversation happened with the mayor of Yorkville that night. That was the first that I had talked to him about that. So he's aware.
Well, having a conversation with him and going on a morning show those are two different things. So, all right. Well, good luck.
Yes, thank
Good
you.
luck with everything. I wish you the best.